Hey everybody, it's Jan. I just made another template. This time, instead of an oscilloscope, I decided I was going to try to emulate a CRT, an old tube TV. CRTs have a very unique look because they have a specific texture to them and way of operating. You can just use the template in vanilla After Effects, no extra plugins. You can then render that out and then use it in other videos or in CGI or whatever application you might have where you want a screen to look like a CRT. I'm going to go through all the features really quick on my template and let's jump right in. Here we are on the Simulate CRT template. It comes with some default color bars. These are just, a shape layer. I've already imported a video here and we're going to add that to our input comp. We're going to need to scale it to the appropriate size, and in this case like 34%, and this is just a cow being abducted by aliens. So we've scaled this down to 640 by 480, which is a 4:3 format. And then we can go over here to our main comp. What we can see is our CRT. It's kind of easier to see it better if it's about 40%. Then we have our effect controls here on our control layer, and each of these will adjust the image. Just to give you an idea of what this looks like up close, we'll go up to 800%. As you can see, we have our individual color channels in what's called a grill layout, which has to do with the CRT shadow mask, which we'll look at in a moment. Let's go back out to 50. Actually, let's go back out to 40% here. And we kind of look at what these different items do. Distortion is just a general distortion you would get from either a broken CRT, something's wrong with the electron gun and the magnet system. So we'll get sort of distortions that warp the image. So that's what that does. Go back down to half. Like half creates like a tiny little like wobbly flicker, which looks very natural to a CRT. Randomized distortion. So this distortion will be random. When that is checked, we get random distortion on every frame. If you want that to be more progressive in terms of like slowly changing distortion, you just uncheck this box and then it will kind of warp in a more orderly fashion. Image skew does exactly what it says. It can skew your image on the x-axis, either that way or this way. And then there's a general offset, which allows you to move your image side to side, as well as up and down, where you'll get a loop with a blanking gap right here, like you would on a CRT. Color channel split splits the color channels apart from each other. Interlacing, this is how video used to be compressed. You can really only see this well with fast moving stuff. So let me go ahead and pop over here really quick, and then we'll do a quick position change. Just maybe it's glitching. And then so we have like this kind of movement that we do here. So we go back to our main comp now. See, we have these things called jaggies. So when something moves quickly on old video coming into a CRT, if the video is interlaced and not progressive, frame data from two different frames will be overlapped and on every other line. So next we have CRT SNOW, and this is just your CRT static when you have no channel. If you turn this all the way up to 100, you'll have pure static. All right, frame rate desync. So for any of you who have ever tried to record a television or a CRT screen, you will have experienced this. So when your frame rate doesn't match your television's frame rate, which most of the time on TV is 30 frames per second, you will have an offset of where it's being drawn on the television screen, and that offset will appear as a black bar on your video. A frame rate offset of like 5 positive, then we'll get this nice blanking bar where this will roll up the screen as you progress through the video. Scan lines, these are of course just your generic lines on the display. So if you zoom in here, you can kind of see they will add a bit of a shadow in between each pixel. When a CRT draws on the screen, it draws in a line from left to right. And so there'll be kind of these in-between sections that'll naturally be dimmer. Okay, glow just adds extra glow to your image. You lose maybe a tiny bit of contrast, but you gain that kind of glowy look. It's optional, you keep it on or off. Black and white, obviously, will turn the image black and white. CRT shadow mask. So there's 3 major types of CRT masks, which is the grill, which is the one we've seen. And let's zoom in to 800 here so you can see this. This is a grill. And then the next one is a dot. This is a dot mask. And then you have what's called a slot mask. So these are like offset pixel sets, but it depends on what you're going for. The Sony Trinitron's, I believe, had the grill style, and different types of CRTs had different masks. Screen dirt, this is just if you want to add something that looks like dirt on your screen. Like this would be like the glass layer that's has some dirt and smudges on your TV screen, if that's the look you're going for. This is not an image texture, this is a generated texture, so you can change it to whatever you want. Pick a number, it'll be something different. A screen curve, so this one's interesting because this is going to imitate like the edges of a CRT being curved inward. What that creates naturally, which you'll see on an actual CRT, is moiring, particularly when you look through a camera at it, and that'll change at different scales. At 100%, that's going to be pretty accurate to what moiring you're getting. If you're working in like 3D, you probably want to leave it at 0, so there you have the accurate pixels, and then when you add this as like a texture to a TV screen on the 3D side, just so you have this nice clean pixel image. So now when you render these, make sure you use a high quality format. High quality by default is Apple ProRes, I believe. The best one you can use is Apple ProRes HQ or Apple ProRes 4444, because if you compress it with like an MP4, what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of the detail in the pixels and it'll get all muddy. So stick with something like ProRes or some other low compression video format. Alright, that's it for the tutorial. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to buy the template, you can buy it over on my store on ironandwoodproductions.com. Here at the store, we have several different assets you can get. Here's the CRT template. This will be on sale for $20 for the month of June 2026. Alright, that's it for now, and thanks for watching. Bye.